they don't think transgender people should exist, quite frankly. And so what we're seeing is an attempt to erase transgender people. It's not keeping up with science.
I haven't seen his take on the school shooter, but I'm sure it's going to be a doozy. Oof. This whole thing is so crazy, man. It's so terrifying that someone would want to do that to kids. It's so terrifying.
Yes, welcome back. If you notice, I don't bring videos like I used to do before because I had some challenges. In 2 days to come, I will adjust the time to be posting like I used to do. Now, taking a look at what is going on, I have seen a lot of things trending. Joe Rogan actually went viral on Twitter recently after a statement pertaining to the recent shooting, and Libras seem not to be happy with this. I don't know if you have seen this.
I haven't seen his take on the school shooter, but I'm sure it's going to be a doozy. Oof. This whole thing is so crazy, man. It's so terrifying that someone would want to do that to kids. It's so terrifying.
It's really upsetting.
It's really upsetting, and it's just
every time.
I feel like there's going to come a time where we decide that the only way to stop this is armed guards, which is no one wants to go to that place. No one wants to have armed guards in front of every school. We never had that before. Why do we have that now? And I get it. I get that no one would want that. I mean, it's horrific. Yeah. But I also get that, like, I don't see any other way to protect this idea that you're going to take all the guns away. They're not going to go for that. It's not in the Constitution. It's not in the Bill of Rights. You're not going to. The Second Amendment, people aren't going to just give their guns up, as up as that sounds, because it's not the law-abiding people with guns that are the problem. It's people with mental health problems. That's the problem. And they get a hold of guns. So how do you stop?
Yes, Libra seems not to be happy with what Rogan said. We have seen the uprising, like the case of today, where trans people decided to storm Kentucky Capitol. Rogan said taking away guns, it is something that cannot happen because of the Constitution. That is the worst thing, according to Libras, that he should not have said this. I went through the comment sections on Twitter. They are totally crazy after he said this.
And these Christian conservative voters want the government to reflect their principles. And a lot of conservative Christians just don't agree with they don't think transgender people should exist, quite frankly. And so what we're seeing is an attempt to erase transgender people. It's not keeping up with science. It's not keeping up with parents or transgender youth are telling us, but they're not listening to them. They're moving forward kind of based on ideology.
And they are totally crazy after he said this. And I don't understand why. He said on this clip, there will become a time where schools will need to have armed guard, because what we are seeing recently is extremely disturbing. Just imagine, one used to think that schools were a safe place, but the recent target is always approaching these places, innocent children. Nobody is standing up to talk about what is happening. Instead, the blame games continue. Like I saw recently with MMBC Joy Reid, she actually played a big card, struggling to defend what is happening. It should not be like this. It has become a real big political issue, with a lot of people.
There is still a lot that we don't know about Monday's horrific shooting at a Nashville Christian school. But after police said the suspect was transgender, one thing is clear. Tennessee's already under siege transgender community is terrified. One advocate told NBC News, "We are already fearing for our lives. Now it's even worse." The right-wing moral panic over transgender people living their lives or seeking medical care or simply existing obviously predates the Nashville massacre. But some on the right are linking the tragedy to their raging nationwide crusade against transgender people in ways that are just dangerous and, frankly, evil. Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of the most embarrassing and shameful members of Congress, without any evidence whatsoever, factor in the Tennessee shooting and that, quote, everyone can stop blaming guns now. No, we won't. J.D. Vance, who sold his soul to Donald Trump for an Ohio Senate seat, shared his deep wisdom.
Yes, before we proceed with the video, at this learn, I really want to ask you, what has she said that can bring a solution to what is happening than playing this card? These are the same talking points she has been passing out throughout the year. These are people that don't bring solution, instead they cause the problem the more. You want to say something, you go after attacking people. That is not right. It has actually been something with her for some time. I decided not to even report a video pertaining to this woman. When it concerns race issue, she is the first. When it pertains to this, she's always coming the first. Why should this be happening? I don't know if people cannot report news, real news, stand up to give real facts without always struggling, to play these political games. Then you call yourself a journalist.
For an Ohio Senate seat, shared his deep wisdom that, quote, if a trans shooter targeted a Christian school, there needs to be a lot of soul searching on the extreme left. Now, it is important to note that we do not know the shooter's motive, just a point of journalism. But in a particularly appalling act of hypocrisy, insurrection fist-bumping Senator Josh Hawley called for the Nashville shooting to be investigated as a hate crime against Christians. The same Josh Hawley, who was the only senator to vote against a bill to better prevent and investigate anti-Asian hate crimes in 2021. And last night, you know who, Fox's hate entertainment broadcaster Tucker Carlson of the I Hate Trump Passionately group text and Lies About Dominion, joined in.
Admitting it might force them to take deeply unfashionable positions.
Joining me now is Jim Wallace, founding director of the Center on Faith and Justice at Georgetown University, and Charlotte Clymer, transgender activist and former press secretary.
Yes, I have seen what is happening recently where these people decided to storm the Capitol. I really want to watch an episode where Joy Ree will call these people let me not even pronounce that. I want to see how she will address this situation, because it is extremely terrible to actually see the kind of videos surfacing on Twitter. These are similar scenarios, but the kind of backup that will appear on this, they will tell you they were so peaceful, people just trying to pass out their point. That is exactly what they will say at the end of the day. Thank you guys for always watching, supporting me. God bless you abundantly.